We have an authentic TBS Triumph. These, as far as I'm concerned, and probably most other people, seem to be the industry standard. But these are extremely robust as far as durability goes. There's nothing you have to do to these to get these to hold up. We got the Strix Hooter here. Now this is a newcomer to the game. And Strix is taking some ideas that others have used and putting their own spin on it. We're going to take a look at these in a little bit and see if we can figure out just what that spin is. Let's get some weights going just for good measure. We've got our authentic Triumph coming in at 13 grams. Our Hooter coming in at 10 grams, 9 grams, so somewhere between 9 and 10. Looks like it's right on the verge of 10. We're going to call it 10. Upon initial inspection, this thing seems to be pretty robust and pretty tough. But it's time to do what any self-respecting reviewer would do, and that is utterly destroy this thing. So here we go. It's going to suffer the same fate. These antennas were sent over by Ready Made RC, and I did ask them specifically to send like 3 or 4 of them. That way I could destroy one in much the manner that I'm doing here. And they only sent me 2, so I ended up buying a couple more on my own dime in order to get this done. Okay, I can tell you right off the bat, and this is a new razor blade since the last time I did this. I can tell you right out of the gates here, this thing is put together pretty well. I'm going to try to get inside of it without destroying it the way I did the Triumph, but looks like I'm not going to be able to make any promises in that regard. There seems to be a seam here, and that's what I'm trying to get in. Ugh. You kidding me? There we go. Get in there, baby. Might be able to tell more once I get all the way in here. Because, you know, that's what I'm hoping for. Probably going to destroy all the elements and make this unusable, but whatever. All in the name of science, right? Holy Moses. Let's see. Thing probably has a self-destruct mechanism so that anybody that tries to get inside of it. There we go. Holy moly. Alright, let's see if I can be ginger about this in some way. Ah, there's one of the elements. Ooh, interesting, interesting. Aha. Are you guys seeing this? This just got very interesting. But this foam is dense, I'll say that. It's not quite, but it's pretty damn close to the density inside the Triumph. But once I get in here a little more, I'm trying to get some of this foam off of here. I think I see what's going to make this a little more durable. I wonder if I can get this bottom shell off. Of course not. It's just like the Triumph in that regard. Now, even though I went out and set the last ones on fire, I'm not going to do that to this because that just proved to be totally fruitless. Look at the difference in the construction of these. Oh boy, this is really, really neat. Try to scrape some of this off of here. I'll bet I could still use this thing. You know I'm going to try now. As long as I don't end up completely destroying this. Which, for any of these, it was not my intent, but I tell you, if you get a Triumph open like this, there's just pretty much no way that you're going to be able to continue using that thing because of the very delicate nature of the construction. This, on the other hand, doesn't have any exposed fragile elements. This has PCBs, circuit boards, which are soldered together in much the same way, or to accomplish the same thing as the Triumphs. Oh yeah. Alright guys, let me get ready to put this thing down. Just pulling off some pieces of the case here. The antenna itself is not even compromised from what I was doing. Alright, let's get in here. So what we have, in fact, I apologize to TBS ahead of time for this, but I have to compare this. Let me get my Triumph here. There we go. Now you can see in the Triumph how they are using a PCB, but what they've done are solder elements onto the points of these to create a dipole antenna. And this is why the foam is so important, because the foam is a part of the structural integrity. Look, the damn elements just fall off of here. Yes, this is the clone, not the Triumph, but the Triumph is constructed the same way. On the Hooter, it is all circuit board. Even these, look, you can see the solder bead right there. This is circuit board serving as the dipole antennas, soldered to circuit board, which is then mounted not just to the stem, because obviously the element or the core of that has to be soldered to this circuit board. I bet that's... But the bottom of the case comes up through there for support too, which is something that the clone, nor... This thing's already wrecked. I don't know why I'm worried about just getting in here and destroying it some more. Yeah, the only thing providing support to this is really the foam, which, you know, as long as this thing stays sealed, this has so much foam and it's so dense that that would be okay. But holy mackerel. In a future video, I'm going to go out and fly this thing, and I bet it is going to work just dandy. Look, even the top is made in a way so that it will sandwich that round green circuit board in there. Alright guys, so here we go with our obligatory romp around the yard. So right around the front here, you're going to notice that both of these antennas have very similar reception. You can find some minor breakups here and there. In fact, there's a lot of consistency in where we see the breakups with the two as well. So, nothing major going on here. Nothing notable worth mentioning. And so we're going to head behind the house. So you're going to notice that you see similar performance from both antennas here too, which is cool, because with the Triumph being what I'm going to consider to be the industry standard, and it's going to be the benchmark for everything. You know, that's what we want to see. But here's where things start getting really, really interesting. So heading down the street, you see some minor breakup from both of them in very similar places. And then we go behind the hedge and watch this. The Triumph becomes unflyable, and yet the Hooter penetrates. Very, very interesting. We'll touch on this a little bit more here in just a moment, but you know, we do our obligatory head down the street and fly around the neighbor's mailbox and come on back and land, just so we can get an idea what some, you know, mid-range unobstructed flight looks like. So both of these antennas seem to perform very, very similarly. And what's really interesting about that is the fact that one costs twice as much as the other. Both of these antennas appear to be just as durable as each other, just as strong, is able to take a beating, except one costs twice as much as the other. Now, we're going on to some additional flight footage here, and you guys are probably wondering what the heck is going on. But I want to take you back just a couple minutes ago to when we were taking apart that Strix Hooter. And remember, I said I was going to possibly fly with that antenna again? So that's what this antenna is. I took that cap, I put it over the rest of the antenna, I ran some electrical tape around it to hold that on, and I flew. And I've been flying with it ever since. I've been flying with that busted antenna for the last couple days, and it performs just as good as when it was new. So I just want to state that the construction of the Hooter is far superior to the construction of the TBS Triumph. Without a doubt, I can say that it is going to stand up to a beating better. And even if you took both of those antennas and beat them enough to where the case cracked open, there is a damn good chance that that Hooter is going to continue to perform so long as you don't bang it up too much more or compromise the integrity of the electronics inside. Whereas just by the nature of breaking open, that Triumph is going to begin degrading heavily. And the Hooter costs half as much. So other than speeding up this video segment twice the speed of normal, and I did that just for time purposes, I did not touch this at all, and I was flying behind multiple homes, behind a lot of obstructions, in areas with really heavy 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi running, and this thing, unless I get behind a series of homes or some really, really thick brush that just absorbs the signal, it just keeps going. It's absolutely wonderful. I can honestly say that at this point, I'm torn between the Hooter and my pagodas. And if I were you guys, I'd keep my eyes open for that video coming probably next. Happy crashing.